Hello friends, my name is Siddhant. I would like to welcome you to the lecture series of knowledge regarding Air Force. This is the first lecture and it is regarding basic knowledge of Air Force. These lectures will be helpful to those who are preparing for their upcoming SSBs, for Army, Navy, and particularly it will be more helpful for Air Force. Something regarding me, my name is Siddhant Bhalekar. About my education, I have completed my MSc in Statistics from Department of Statistics, Pune University. Regarding Armed Forces selection, I have been to AFSB, NSB, SSB, and I also been to SSB of Coast Guard as well. Until my last attempt, I was preparing for myself, and this time I felt whatever knowledge I am gathering that I should share with the friends who are preparing for same, that is their upcoming SSBs. So, starting with the history of Indian Air Force. So, let me have a pen. Okay, Indian Air Force was founded on 8th of October of 1932. Initially, it had 6 officers and 19 Hawaii sepoys. They were also known as air warriors. Okay. The first batch of pilots of Indian Air Force was trained at Cranwell in UK during 1930 to 1932. Until 1939, the Indian Air Force pilots were trained at Cranwell only along with the technical branch officers. But later, after 1939, the training establishments were set in India only. Let's go to the next slide. Now, yes, before going to the next slide, many of you might be thinking that why I am referring Indian Air Force as Indian Air Force before the independence, because before independence it was known as Royal Indian Air Force. So, regarding that, Indian Air Force initially was a branch of Royal Air Force only, but it was not having its prefix Royal. We got it during the Second World War, like after the Second World War, because of the extinguished work we did in Second World War. That time we were honored with this prefix Royal in 1945. So in 1945 we became Royal Indian Air Force. So this question, the next that I am going to tell you, is generally asked in interview during the SSBs. For how much time you are going to be trained? Are you aware of that? Even I have faced this question at I think when I was in AFSB Mysore. So training for flying branch is for 74 weeks, and for ground duties, that is technical and non-technical branches, the training is for 52 weeks. In January 1950, India became republic in the Commonwealth of Britain, that is British Commonwealth, and Indian Air Force dropped its prefix as Royal. So anyway, we were not willing to have that Royal prefix. We are already Royal without that prefix as well. Moving on, the batch of Indian Air Force and the motto of Indian Air Force. The motto of Indian Air Force is Navas Prusham Diptam, that means touch the sky with glory. The motto of Indian Air Force is taken from the 11th chapter of Gita. In concise manner, I will tell you, when Lord Krishna showed his true form to Arjun, Arjuna said that he is frightened looking at the effulgent form of Lord Krishna and he can find no peace. So actual the thing is, I will read it. Lord, seeing your form touching the sky with glory, effulgent, multicolored and having its mouth wide open, and possessing large flaming eyes, I, with my innermost self frightened, have lost self-control and find no peace. So you can write it down. You can find this information on the website of Air Force also. This is the badge or logo of Indian Air Force. You can see here there is an eagle and it is encircled, on which Bharatiya Vayu Sena is written. There are two flowers, and below that the motto is written Nabhas Prusham Diptam, and above all this there is a emblem of India. Okay, there is other important topic, ranks in Indian Air Force. So no one is going to be spared from this question. You have to face this question during your SSB. So the question can be, tell me regarding ranks of Indian Air Force. So there are two things from my experience I have learned. Either they can ask officers ranking, okay, or they can ask in general, tell the ranks of Indian Air Force. So what happens usually whenever they ask ranks, We know everything from flying officer, but we don't know about GCO and NCO. So these ranks are also important. If they ask you particularly, tell the ranks of officers, then start with flying officer. But if they ask ranks in Indian Air Force, then start with the basic first rank. So this first rank is Air Craftsman. You can see the N Sigma here. It is only an eagle. There is one more symbol is getting added. I will call it wings. Okay. So there is a eagle. First is Air Craftsman. Then after promotion, one becomes leading Air Craftsman. Then there is corporal and sergeant. You can see along with the eagle, there is a pair of wings that is getting added. So one pair of wing, two such structures, and three such structures. After that, okay, so these four ranks are NCO, that is non-commissioned officer. After sergeant, you become JCO, that is junior commission officer. The first JCO is, sorry, junior warrant officer. The next one is warrant officer, and this is master warrant officer. This post is equivalent to Subedar Major of Army. And these all ranks can be compared with navies and army structure as well for non-officer post. For the officer ranking, the first one is, so yes, before flying officer, one is flying cadet. And when you actually get commissioned, first rank that you get is flying officer, flight lieutenant, squadron leader, wing commander, group captain. Then you become air commodore, air vice marshal, air marshal, air chief marshal, and there is 10th rank. Okay, I think these are only 9. There is 10th rank which will be included in the next slide. Currently Indian Air Force is headed by this post. Okay, air chief marshal. Now you can recognize, like when you will go to SSB and when you will actually get in service, an officer can be identified or classified with this insignia that is having that the shoulder stripe. Here you can see there is one line. There are two such lines for flight lieutenant. When you become squadron leader, one small line is getting added between these two lines. This line gets mature, and when you become wing commander, you actually have these 3 lines. Group captain, 4 lines. Yeah, from the group captain, I can like recollect one name, wing commander Abhinandan, who recently became group captain. Okay, uh, I don't think there will be anyone in our country who don't know group captain Abhinandan sir. Then when you get promoted, there will be air commodore, air vice marshal, air marshal, air chief marshal, and then marshal of the Air Force. We'll see it in next rank. So the pattern can be in different ways. The interviewing officer might ask you, tell the ranking from flying officer to the topmost post of Air Force regarding officers, or he can say tell one by one, like you have to omit one from flying officer, that you have to tell flying officer, squadron leader, then group captain, air vice marshal, air chief marshal, or it can go from in descending order as well. So there can be many permutations, so we need to be aware of that. Now it does not matter to which service you are going, it is army, navy or air force, you need to know the equivalent rank structure for all the forces. Even if you are going for army, you need to know about air force and navy as well. So the question can be, tell the equivalent ranks to brigadier in air force and navy. So in Indian army, the structure starts with lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, colonel, brigadier, major general, lieutenant general, general, and field marshal. These are so in Indian army there are star, emblem. There is a star which is encircled with this red color, and this cross is there. If I notice right now, okay, it seems something similar to what do we say, Khukri of Gorkha regiment. If I'm not right, then do let me know, okay, in the comment section. So then after star it will be emblem. Now you can see here it is encircled with red color. Here emblem is also encircled with it's also covered with this red line. Then star and emblem gets added, and this cross structure that we had here is encircled with this beautiful structure when you become field marshal. For Air Force, just I told in the last slide. For Navy, you start with sub lieutenant, unlike Army. You become lieutenant then once you are sub lieutenant, but At the same time, you have to understand this lieutenant of navy and this lieutenant of army are different. Lieutenant of navy is equivalent to captain of army, and lieutenant of army is equivalent to sub lieutenant of navy. Okay, this is very important. Then you become lieutenant commander, commander, captain, commodore, rear admiral, vice admiral, admiral, and the last post in Air Force for Indian Navy is admiral of the fleet. There is one important thing that I would like to tell you here, that is star officer. So I'm not saying regarding these stars, okay? There is something called as 1-star officer, 2-star officer, 3-star officer, 4-star officer, and 5-star officer in Army, Navy, and Air Force. This rank structure starts with brigadier. So brigadier is known as 1-star officer, major general is 2-star officer, lieutenant general is 3-star officer, general is 4-star officer, and field marshal is 5-star officer. There is nothing as 6-star officers, okay? So if someone is brigadier or air commodore in Navy, he is 1-star officer, major general 2-star officer, air vice marshal 2-star, and rear admiral of Navy 2-star. Here you can see air marshal, air vice marshal, and lieutenant general are 3-star officer. Same goes for general, air chief marshal, admiral. So these are the posts, okay? 4-star officers are there who actually command Army, Navy, and Air Force. In wartime, these posts are given field marshal, marshal of the Air Force, and admiral of the fleet. We have marshal of the Air Force. Till date we had air field marshal as well, but we did not have admiral of the fleet till date, okay? Yes, there is one more trick that I would like to tell you. Air Force rank and Navy's rank are resembling to each other regarding the insigmas. Okay, you can see here is one line, here is also one line, two line, in between two line there is one small line getting added till commodore, you can see. Okay, then there is this big what you can say rectangle, and to that rectangle these lines are again getting added. So you can see here 1 2 3, like you can say 2.5 3 4. Here there is no such half line getting added. Okay, whatever this quadrant leader is having here, when these lines are getting added after two line, that small line is not coming here, directly three main line are coming. Then same goes for commodore, rear admiral, vice admiral, admiral of the fleet. There is no any rear post in Air Force, okay? It is only Navy rear admiral. It is directly air commodore and air vice marshal. But here you can see commodore, rear admiral, and then vice admiral. There is one more thing you should notice here. Here is captain, here is captain, here is commodore, here is wing commodore. Okay, so commodore words are there. Here is flight lieutenant, here is lieutenant. So these two ranks are having same name. So alternately you can see 1 2 3 4, not 4, 1 2 3. So these three ranks will help you to remember the equivalent ranks in Air Force and Navy. And also from this shoulder stripes also you can remember like what are the equivalent rank in Navy and Air Force. The next topic is current heads of Army, Navy, and Air Force. So current head of Army is General Manoj Pandey. Here you can see there is a cross and emblem. Remember which post it is? It is Lieutenant General. See, Lieutenant General had this emblem and this cross structure. So he was 3-star officer when the fort was clicked, but later he became general. So from 3-star officer he became 4-star officer. So you can see here on his what you can say collar 1 2 3, 3 stars are there. So he was promoted to 4-star officer. So the time the photo was taken he was 3-star officer, that lieutenant general, and later he got promoted to general. Regarding Manoj Pandey sir, General Manoj Pandey sir, he is someone who became general, and he is the first guy to become general from engineering cadre. Until now I think most of the generals were from Gorkha regiments only. So Admiral R. Harin Kumar, who is the head of Indian Navy, here you can see on his collar, one, two, three, 4 stars are there. So there are 4 stars. That means the photo was taken when he was actually admiral. In this ceremonial dress, the shoulder stripes here are not there, but on the forearm around the wrist you can see one big bag, rectangle, one, two, three. That means Commodore, Rear Admiral, Vice Admiral, Admiral. Regarding Air Force, the current chief is Air Chief Marshal Vikram Chaudhary. Here you can see on his collar 1, 2, 3, 4, and this big rectangle again Commodore. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there are 3 such lines. That means he is a Air Chief Marshal. The next post is Vice Chief of Indian Air Force. He is Air Marshal Sandeep Singh. Here you can see the rectangle and these 2 lines. That means Air Commodore, Air Vice Marshal, Air Marshal, and here Commodore is Air Vice Marshal, Air Marshal, and Air Chief Marshal. Now, Chief of the Defence Staff, the current one, General Anil Chauhan. So here you can see he was this post is important. Okay, now the first Chief of Defence Staff this year was nominated and got the Padma Vibhushan. We all know him. And currently General Anil Chauhan is the Chief of the Defence Staff. If you see here, he was the Lieutenant General. Here you can see, okay, but he became General later. Now you might ask, like, sir, what is the star that Chief of Defence Staff possesses? A Chief of Defence Staff possesses 4 stars. Okay, he's a 4-star officer. So Field Marshal is 5-star officer. Then you again get when you become Chief of the Defence Staff, you become 4-star officer. That's something that we should know. Okay, I will go to the previous slides. Here you see, and if you become Chief of Defence Staff CDS, you become 4-star officer. Now why? CDS is not head of any particular force. He is the coordinator between all the forces, and the one who is being a 4-star officer or can be 4-star officer is eligible for becoming CDS. Now this Anil Chauhan sir, so he was Lieutenant General. That means he was 3-star officer at the time of his retirement, and after his retirement he was nominated for becoming Chief of Defence Staff. That means he should been a 4-star officer, so he was promoted to the rank of general when he became CDS. That was all about today's video, friends. In upcoming videos we'll be discussing regarding aircrafts, the different commands that Indian Air Force is purchasing, the training establishments, and the various knowledge that will be helpful in your AFSB and SSBs. Thank you once again. See you in the next video. Till then, Jai Hind.